First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Let's see a little behind the scenes there. Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nippler. Appreciate all of you joining us. We are live streaming from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom here every weekday at 1 p.m. Pacific. We're on our social media apps. We're on our regular apps. We're on the website. So lots of places to find us. And we get to have some great conversations here about a lot of things. And what I'm going to talk about now is really covering a lot. We're going to talk about the history of Portland. We're going to talk about a huge event that's coming up that's returning to Portland. And it all revolves around the Lone Fir Cemetery, which is actually in southeast Portland. It's a historic site. It's got a lot of people that, well, there's thousands of people that are buried there, but including some very big names that you may see on, say, some Portland street signs, like Lovejoy or Hawthorne. So it's a lot of things that really tie into Portland as a whole. And there is an organization that helps maintain that, and that is called the Friends of Lone Fir Cemetery. I've got Margaret joining us right now from the Friends. Hello, Margaret. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
I'm so glad to have you on here because there's so much to cover in this, and I find it all really fascinating. So I think for everybody to get a bit of a history lesson, can you tell us about the Lone Fir Cemetery?
Yeah, it is one of the most oldest continuous use cemeteries in all of Portland. It is on Southeast 26th in Stark, and it basically got its start as a part of J.B. Stevens' land claim. His father, Emmer Stevens, is the first burial there. He was interred there in 1846. And that was very common back in the day, was to use the farmost unproductive corner of your farm, your property, to bury loved ones. And it just propelled from there, became Mount Crawford Cemetery, and then ultimately became Lone Fir Cemetery over the years. So, yeah, first burial there is 1846. There's 30,000 graves there, 20,000 unknown graves, everything from Chinese immigrants, which are in Block 14, as well as Hawthorne's asylum patients. So quite a colored history there, from the Portland Noir to current headstones and burials to this day. So it's a really enriching space. We like to think of it as an outdoor museum.
It really is. I mean, even walking through there, and like you mentioned, Hawthorne and his section there, the entire story behind that. I mean, it's a lot of the things, when you walk through there, you mentioned there's 30,000 people buried there, but when you see some of those names on those tombstones, it's like, oh, I recognize that name. I
Absolutely.
drove down that street earlier.
Yeah, Asa Lovejoy, James Hawthorne. Originally, Captain Cooch was buried there, and he got moved over to Riverview. So there's a lot of history there. Maclay Park, Lower Maclay Park. There's the Maclay Mausoleum. He built that mausoleum for his wife, who perished in 1876, young age of 31, in childbirth. And so it's a beautiful mausoleum. There are over 8 people interred in that building. And it's just, there's where to begin, right? So much history, so many folks, all the names that you can think of in terms of Portland history are interred there.
Well, and it's a beautiful area as well with the way that it's maintained and everything. And I know Friends of Lone Fir has a role in that as well. So I wonder if you could talk to us about that. Like what was the impetus for founding Friends of Lone Fir?
Yeah, it really came in 2000. I was not a part of Friends at that time. I've been with Friends for almost 12 years now. So I began in 2000 with a rash of vandalism, and a group came together from the neighborhood, and likely folks that had family interred there, and decided to put together a group to help uh, clear back brush, put headstones back, really maintain and clean the cemetery. Back then, the soldier wasn't even up on the soldier's monument. It was really overgrown, a lot of grass. And so they really rolled up their sleeves and really got in there and really helped revitalize and restore the property in partnership with Metro. And from there, the Friends group grew. We conduct monthly tours there every first and second Saturday of the month. If you wanted to come around and just check out some of the history, we are happy to give guided tours separately as well if you reach out to us. And then on the third Saturday, April through September, we do monthly headstone workshops. We really invite the community to come in. We want you to appreciate Lone Fir for what it is, help us really maintain the space. And we find that if you come in, especially an event, which we'll get to in a moment, about like Tour of Untimely Departures, you're likely to help become stewards of the property if you become interested in it, you learn about it, we invite you in, and you're more likely to make sure that the space is maintained. So we hope that the community becomes stewards with us.
Well, and you've done such a great job of that too, and it's a shame that that vandalism did happen, but now, it's so much more well maintained, and the Friends is a pretty big group too, right? How many people are in the Friends of Lone Fir?
We have quite a number of members, but believe it or not, the board makes up about 8 or 9 people. We're a small but mighty group. And so we try to do the best we can to instill volunteers, members. We do a lot with the headstone workshops. We get a lot of volunteerism from that. People come out and they get hooked on it. They get hooked on the history. They get hooked on cleaning things, making that monumental difference in that headstone. And it's really powerful. As small as it may seem, you do that before and after picture, and we see people time and time again come back and want to do it.
Yeah, so what goes on in a headstone workshop?
Yeah, we invite folks to come out. Like I said, it's the third Saturday. So the last one of the season is, in fact, the 16th, tomorrow of this month. You come out, we supply water, buckets, brushes, hoses, and you pick a headstone that you like. We teach you how to clean it. We teach you how to take the moss off. We teach you how to make sure things are done properly. And you go out there and you clean and you scrub and get dirty, and you spend a couple of hours cleaning a few headstones. And you have that many people. On average, we have about 30 to 35 people per month that come out to help us do that, and they extend all throughout the cemetery to make sure that a lot of the headstones are cleaned and maintained.
What is it for you that made you want to get involved in this?
All the things I've mentioned. I've been on a couple of tours. I'm really into Portland history, and I got hooked. I view myself as cemetery enthusiast, but really the history of Portland, all roads lead back to me, Lone Fir Cemetery, whether it's Asa Lovejoy or James Turk and the Shanghaiing, or whether it's Dr. Hawthorne, and all the enriching historical stories of Portland are really born out of Lone Fir. And I never grow tired of going there or participating or being involved, and just seeing the marked difference that we make in replacing headstones or cleaning headstones. Um, it's just addicting, really. It's something that I hope other people uh, can appreciate. Come out, join the fun.
Do you have a favorite historical fact about Lone Fir? If you had to pick one,
Um, I had to pick one.
that
Um,
that's a hard question. I realize I
Hard
just threw that
question.
at you.
I think that it was one of the first cemeteries in Portland. I think that a lot of people don't realize that nobody lived on the east side of the river. And so, James B. Stevens, his property, even William S. Ladd's property, nobody lived over here. It was unclaimed land. And so I think that that is comical now when you think about the population of east of the river, East Portland, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's, and
That was
how
all
much
private
this country
property
is
at one point.
it was all private property. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, there's always fun stuff to learn about Portland and through Lone Fir. Yeah.
well, going on to the tour that you mentioned. So this is something that I know you've done in the past. I've actually gone on one before myself,
Oh,
but
cool.
yeah, it's amazing. That's why I really wanted to talk to you about it. So tell
Mhm.
us about the tour and the origin of this.
The origin was, again, through just the concern and the bouts of vandalism. And the original folks that started it, I want to say probably 15 years ago. We've been doing it off and on. We did have a break there a couple of years, most recently due to the pandemic, of course. And it was really to invite the community in. Halloween, as you can imagine, is the most popular time for vandalism in cemeteries or other dark corners of the city. And so Metro and Friends of Lone Fir Cemetery used to patrol the cemetery to ensure, that it was a safe space free of vandalism. And then they decided, instead of trying to keep people out, let's invite people in. Let's bring you in. Let's have a good evening. Let's kind of spin things up a little bit, tell a tale of an untimely departure, make it a little darker, get some actors involved, and really make it an event. And it really just took off from there. It really is an amazing event. And I just checked ticket sales before our conversation today, and I want to say by the time we're done with this, the event will be sold out. And
Wow,
tickets went on sale last night at midnight, and so
that's crazy.
it's intense. No, I thought we'd have the whole weekend what we normally do, and it will. They're going to be most likely be gone. We had like 30 tickets left when I checked last at a little before 1 p.m. today.
And that just shows the popularity of this and just what it is. And so I guess for people to understand, like if they show up at this, they have a ticket, what is that experience like?
So the experience is someone will greet you at the gate. They will meet you with your ticket, find the time on your ticket, meet you in a group. We will then escort you into a group of 25, either on the North or the South Tour, which run concurrently to get more folks through the cemetery. Those guides will take you through a series of stops that are lit through luminaries, and an actor at each stop will tell the tale of that person's untimely death. And it really is an act of love for those volunteers that are acting and betraying each person. I don't want to give away the stops because it will be a surprise for folks going through the cemetery. But we do try to mix it up, and we do try to tell really enriching, cool, fun stories. Little maybe on the darker side, nothing spooky, nothing scary. But again, as you can see through the imagery there, we use luminaries, we use lighting to help set a real nice dark tone. And it really is a really fun, informative event that I really hope people will take away and really get hooked on the space and recognize all the work that we do and recognize that the money goes back to our group to help, do the headstone workshops, do the tours, do other things in the cemetery to help restore and repair headstones, things of that persuasion. And we really do benefit from the event quite a bit from that standpoint. But ultimately, it is fun. It is a really neat event. We do have musicians walking through the cemetery to help send an ambiance. The actors get dressed up. They tell their tale of that particular stop. But it really is a cool, fun event, and I'm really excited we're bringing it back this year.
And I'm always curious how many actors are involved. I guess that's one question.
I would say about 50 or 60, about 50.
Yeah, about 50
And
people
then
actually.
we have the tour guides, which we have tours leaving every 8 minutes. So every 8 minutes for 4 hours, we have about 30. I'm trying to do math. 32 tours in all, and they run about 50 at the same time. So it's a very coordinated event. We have to get tents and logistics and flights, and I do want to mention really quick that we use cat food to help hold down the luminaries. It's kind of a strange thing to insert here, but all the cat food that, we have an Amazon wish list, all the cat food that people have donated to us or who continue to donate to us on our website, all of that cat food will then get donated to House of Dreams, which is a local cat shelter. So we're trying to really partner with a lot of organizations to give back as well.
That's
So we're trying to
great.
figure
So
those creative ways to say, hey, like we found just based on the size alone, that worked really well with the luminary. How can we then turn around and then partner with an organization to give back? So that's House
that's
of Dreams.
that's awesome. So that's again, mentioning that how has the community received Friends of Lonefer and what you're doing?
They love it. They love our historical tours. We find November, December in particular are key times, November especially. People, they decide they want to spend more time. They want to go in, they want to be a part of it. And I hope when they do spend time in the cemetery, that they are stewards while they are there, that they have that love and that protective nature. Um, it helps the neighborhood and it helps the city of Portland to help become eyes like we are to make sure that it's continually a safe, protected space.
One other question just about the tour. How do you decide whose stories you're going to tell?
We try to create a nice, good map that will create a trail. So sometimes it is logistics and that strategical sense. Um, but sometimes we just mix it up. We have stories that of all kinds of folks in the cemetery, and so sometimes we think, well, we haven't spoken about them in a few years, or But we found some new information about Charity Lamb. Let's talk about her. So it really is just a conversation among us as a group to help decide who's making the cut this year. Honestly, we don't like to repeat stories too often, and so if folks have attended in the past, it should feel like a fresh tour for them, and that's part of why.
How do you get the information about all of these different people? I mean, I get somebody like Hawthorne or the Lovejoys, there's probably a lot of
Sure.
information out there, but some of the other ones, how do you find out this about them?
We are constant purveyors of research through Metro websites, through the Oregon Historical Society, through the Oregon Encyclopedia, through our own Find a Grave, or through any bit of information we can dig up. That's some pun intended, right? Everything we have found, we've kept in files and records for the last 20 years as an organization. We were founded in 2000. We've been around for 23 years, so there's a lot of information we found throughout the years. Volunteers have come forth and said, "Hey, I did some research. My great grandfather knew this person, that person," and so the community helps a lot too. But there are a lot of resources out there to continually find information about old burial records or old stories or whatever the case. So
Well, that's that really interesting. I'm sure that's probably a lot of fun to go through all of those records too and just see what people have uncovered during that
absolutely.
time. Well, Margaret, for everybody out there, where can they go find out more information, follow along with what you're doing if they're interested in this, or even just go to Lone Fir and go on one of these tours?
Yeah, go to friendsofloneFirCemetery.org. That is our website. It will give you a link to ticket sales. It will give you a link about us. It will give you a link on how you can volunteer, how you can attend a tour, how you can become a part of research. Everything you need to find, including following us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. Come find us, come follow us, get involved, and share the love of Lone Fir Cemetery.
Thank you so much for joining me here today. Really, really
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
having me.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you
was a
so
lot
much.
of fun. And for everybody watching as well, thanks for joining in. This is Fox 12 Now. We're live every weekday, 1 p.m. Pacific, so we get to have these conversations, learn about things going on in Oregon and Washington in the communities. And if you have something you'd like to suggest that we should talk about, send me an email, fox12now@kptv.com. Coming up at 1:30 p.m., I'm going to be talking to the Safeway Foundation, which is a nonprofit that helps out different neighborhoods. We're going to discuss what they do in their community. And so that's coming up here in just a little bit. But thanks for tuning in. I'm going to sign off just for now, reset. So just come right back to wherever you're watching me right now. That's where I'll be in about 10 minutes or so. So I'll see you then. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.